There's a common misconception that this unit that I'm unbolting here is actually called a diff or a differential. It's not. This is actually a final drive unit. The casing you can see that the unit's in is called the pinion carrier, and the differential itself is the gears in here in the internals. Plenty of different types on different vehicles, and what you're looking at here is the front axle final drive on a Land Rover Discovery 300. No, sorry, not a 300 TDI. It was off a V8 with ABS. The front axle final drive unit is probably the hardest to remove because you have to do a fair bit of stripping, remove the swivel hubs before you can get the unit out. Fairly common way to drive the final drive is with a prop shaft bolted to a flange. Now this is a 4-bolt flange with a Hardy Spicer joint. They're fairly easy to get off, however it's probably more difficult in a vehicle than using 2 spanners on the floor here. These are 9/16 spanners. Just keep in mind with these flanges that there's also a boss which locates so the flanges together don't slide and cause disbalance on the prop shaft. Alternative to using a Hardy Spicer joint and a 4-bolt fixing is a 3-bolt drive flange, and you'll see that this has got a spigot for the prop shaft donut or flexible joint as Land Rover like to call them. Now there's a threaded bolt hole for extraction here, and you can see this is actually the new piece, so you can see how far that's embedded into the flange. Fixed to that is the flexible joint or coupling, which we call a donut, and it fixes on here like that. Okay, you get the general idea. Alright, so the prop shaft will fit onto there, and in the prop shaft end where the spigot goes is a bush. This bush here also has the right way and a wrong way to fit it, and it fits in this way. Obviously you need to extract the old one first. Okay, so the idea is the donut is between these two. However, what you'll notice is this is actually worn. The full kit that you can get, kit shaft repair, the numbers here. Also on the flange you'll see a mud shield for the seal, and the seal will be sitting behind there, and this is important. A vital factor with the final drives is the half shaft splines. This one has 24 splines, and some of them can have 10 splines. Most Land Rover owners will probably agree that you'll have to pull a half shaft out to find out whether you have 24 or 10 spline units. Okay, looking from the back end of the final drive, we're looking at the bearing caps here, which retain bearings. They're adjustable to get the backlash out between the crown wheel and the pinion. You have your differential carrier. Now, as I said, this is actually the differential. You have your sun gears and your planet gears that you can see here. The pinion is attached to the flange. You can see I'm turning this here. This drives the crown wheel. Alright, this is the main part of the changing the drive through 90 degrees. And taking a look deeper into it, you can see the bearing at the back here. Now that's one of 2 that holds the pinion in place, and they are shimmed, so that it's not just a matter of just chucking them in and getting on with it. It's quite a complex operation to set one of these up. If you ever wondered why that when you jack up an axle and you spin one wheel and the other one goes the other way, this is the reason why. In the center here we have a cross shaft which the planet gears are retained with. Now these can snap, causing problems. On the end here you can see the circlip in place, and this also retains it. Point worth noting, if you're draining the oil, have a fish about in the casing to see if there's any debris, and if there's anything that looks like part of this shaft, then it's probably snapped and the thing needs to be replaced. There is a kit to do it, by the way. Checking for backlash is quite important, whether you do it as a service item for inspection or actually buying a new diff. You want one that's very tight. Now, turning the flange here, there's absolutely almost no backlash at all. If there was quite a bit of backlash, what you'll find is the final drive will bang as you take up drive when you're driving.